Thank you all for coming. I know this is my first event, or in-person event, that I've been to in a while. So thank you all for coming out tonight. So today, we're talking about back to normal or something else. Well, it's been a year, right? Oh, wait. Has it been 2 years? A year and a half? I've lost count because, I don't know. Time is meaningless. Whatever. There's before times, there's now times. We're looking forward to after times, right? And so right now, what I do know is that we are having a moment. And our moment is a time of change. Change from a society level, change at a professional level, change at a personal level. We change how we do pretty much everything, what we're doing, how we're living our lives. And we've done all of this in such a short period of time. And that short period of time has made us a little uncomfortable. Just taking a look at the pandemic, only one of the things that we're facing right now. So this is a little bit of research conducted by the Pew Research Center. The research was conducted about this time last year and was reported in March. And what it's saying is open-ended. People saying good things that happen to them and bad things that happen to them throughout the year. And as we can see, absolutely. Negative. We see those red negative lines outpacing positive, right? We have all had negative impact due to COVID in some way. But I'd also like to point out that there's a lot of positive aspects here. So 73% said something positive, 89% said something negative. So we're finding that we're being impacted in many different ways by this pandemic. And I'll give you one example. Personal relationships here. We have personal relationships, mental health, society, jobs, the economy. So many different ways that it's touched us. But say for personal relationships, we see the negative aspects: isolation, social distancing, holidays without family members. But on the positive side, we're seeing some people spending more quality time with their family. They're less scheduled, less commuting, more time together. So there are silver linings coming out of this. So it's not just how the pandemic is affecting us, but also who it's affecting. And it is affecting each of us a little bit differently. Even though we see these larger overall trends, we're also seeing how it's impacting us individually. We see our essential workers with their exhaustion and fatigue. We see working mothers challenged by caring for children while doing a job. We see our young people challenged by the isolation they're feeling at home by themselves. And so we're all expressing this a little bit differently. And we can choose to see this as all negative, wanting to go back to that comfort of the before times. However, I think we can also make a choice to make our, after times, make our future better by addressing some of the challenges that we're facing now, some of the challenges that we were facing before, to make a better future. And we're seeing that during this time is a time for those choice for innovation for the future. An economist, Joseph Schumpeter, came out in the 1940s, so a while ago, that in times of crisis are seedbeds for innovation and entrepreneurship. Times of crisis highlight and spotlight the challenges that we're facing, the problems that we're facing. They create new trends of what is coming next and birth entrepreneurship and innovation. And these new innovation and entrepreneurial activities set in motion our new rounds of economic growth. So coming out of here, it'll be new and improved with what's next. And so I brought some examples of how this has happened in the past. Dixie cups, paper towels, Kleenex, new ways of personal hygiene came out of the 1918 flu pandemic. Also, we had better understood how disease spread. We started doing DNA research. We did more in vaccines. So because of the 1918 flu pandemic, we were able to move forward in terms of health and hygiene, and we know a lot more and have been building off that for the past 100 years. The Great Depression changed how we shopped, how we consumed things. We saw the advent of the first supermarket. Large stores, lots of products, low prices. We changed how we consume things to better meet the needs of the people experiencing the Great Depression, which also not only launched how we shop, but also what we're consuming as it kickstarted consumer packaged goods. 50 years of the Cold War brought investment in a lot of the technology that underpins a lot of things that we've used today, right? Satellites, space, microchips, email, internet, GPS. I mean, I think I used almost everything except for NASA just today. I would have used NASA if it was available, but they don't take my calls anymore. So we're seeing a lot of great innovation coming out of these times of crisis. So I ask you, what is next? How do we find what is next? And so in entrepreneurship, when we think about where do we start, we always start with a need. What is the need, the problem, the want, the gap that exists between what is now and what people want? And you can look to the world around you for ideas. I always say read the newspaper, and then I realize nobody actually reads newspapers. So scroll on the news app on your phone. Listen to all those times that your friends and family say things like, why doesn't this work this way? Why doesn't this exist? I'm so frustrated about this product. I wish we could do it this way. I wish we could do this. Listen for those triggering words to show you where there's those gaps. And it could be something small, but it could also be huge societal things that we could be working towards improving the lives of those around us. And what's nice is in times of crisis, there's a newfound sense of urgency. We're uncomfortable. We are looking for something new to improve or better our lives in some way. So we're actively searching, we're actively changing what our boundaries are. We're looking to switch from current products or habits. You can't probably read this, but what I did was look at a bunch of different trends that happened out of 2020. Some of them are bigger. We drove less. Americans delayed at least one medical service. Fatigue. But there's also puzzle purchases tripled. 270,000 pets were adopted. Online sales of pajamas grew 143%. So from the huge things to the small things, we're seeing that we're in times of flux, and so many aspects are in flux. So how do we just pick something that resonates with you to see what could we be doing to build something? Let's just pick one. How many people here have been spending time on Zoom? I know I have, right? So once we've chosen our problem, like say Zoom and Zoom fatigue, we can start thinking through who our customers are or our market. Is it a big enough market? Is it big enough for other competitors to also be there? Is it big enough to build a sustainable business in? But not only do we need a larger market, but we need to get very narrow at the same time. Who are those early adopters, those first customers who identify the need so great that they're actively trying to find a new solution? And how can we build something to connect with them to solve their specific problems? And because of this, we're talking about that openness to change, that actively looking. So one market that we could be thinking about in terms of our Zoom and Zoom fatigue are professional women. Not to say men aren't experiencing Zoom fatigue, but Stanford recently came out with a study showing that women in particular were especially affected by all of our online meetings. It was the mirroring aspect, looking at yourself on the video monitor, looking at your appearance, looking at your mannerisms, listening to what you're saying. That self-conscious really hurts mental health. And so it's really affecting women in particular. So maybe that's a good customer segment we could be going for. How can we then build a solution? Start small. We don't have to do everything. What is an internal, one small point where we can get started and then grow from there? And how can we unite people around our common purpose? We have employees, vendors, customers, potentially investors, other people who we can surround ourselves with to help us in what we're trying to accomplish. In terms of building a solution, we've probably already done most of these things. We've got our work from home space, we've got our background, we've got our blue light glasses, headphones, a ring light, right? We've got our office set up. But what's next? What's going to carry us through as Zoom isn't going away? As working from home and video conferencing is becoming a part of our everyday for the long term? What are new solutions to better our well-being as we're going through this transition and what we're doing? And the time is now. According to McKinsey, big companies aren't paying attention to this. A McKinsey report that came out this spring showed us that large companies are focused on maintaining cash, stabilizing the business. They're worried about employees and how it's, they're working from home and what are they doing and how's it all coming together. Investment in innovation and R&D has drastically decreased, and they said they'll get back to it when things get back to normal. So while they're busy, we can take advantage of that. But we also have to know that it's not a straightforward process. We often think that, here's a problem, here's some people who have that problem, I'll make a product, done, right? Well, the process is a little bit messier than that. So be prepared for successes and failures, stops and starts. Be prepared to adjust and change and adapt to what the changes are that's going on in the marketplace around you. And it doesn't have to be done any one way. For-profits, nonprofits, social ventures, full-time, part-time, your side hustle. Doing it within a larger organization. Doing it as just a volunteer trying to help existing organizations, say, nonprofits or community organizations. So it doesn't have to be you starting a for-profit venture. How can you just be a part and start making a difference and take that first step? Because if we go back to our original question, there is no back to normal. So how are you going to help us to move forward? And if not you, then who? Don't wait for someone else to do this for you. And if now, when? There's never going to be a good time. Thank you.